Hey, 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 it's the
Hey,
phenomenal.
how are you, Maya?
How are you, Sherwin? How are you
I'm doing
doing?
well. I'm doing well. I'm doing well.
Oh my
Quite all
goodness.
right.
Hey guys, I see some of you are on. Please do me a favor and share this. Tell me where you are watching from. I have one thing to do before we get started. Always got to do my homework. Remember, my book, The Phenomenal STEMist, is on Amazon. Check it out. How to become a successful STEM professional or STEM student from the womb to the university. You can find it directly on Amazon, or you can go to my website, especially you parents who have a desire to educate your children in STEM. We have phenomenal STEM camp, year, prep. Listen, in order to become all these fantastic, phenomenal STEMists that I interview from month to month, got to prepare your kids. So do me a favor and do that. Welcome, welcome everyone. Welcome everyone. You know I got my mom. She's watching for sure. There's other people watching.
Hi,
Tell me where you're
Mom.
watching. We have Sherwin Stone, a great friend from New York City. Originally, we're going to talk about where he's from a little later, but I want to introduce him professionally. Sherwin has a bachelor's in history and religion from Oakwood University
That's
College, now
right.
university.
That's
Whoop,
right.
whoop.
That's right.
Represent. And then he went on to do his master's in information systems from the Keller Graduate School of Durham University. So he has a story. He has a story, and we're going to get right into that story, so that you can know, your kids can know, how to become a system engineer. Welcome to the LinkedIn people. So I just added LinkedIn to
That's
my
awesome.
stream. So we're watching from LinkedIn, we're watching from YouTube, we're watching from Facebook. Please do me a favor. Hey Martine, share, share, share. Thanks for watching. Um, Number one, now my first question to you is, when did you fall in love with your discipline?
Well, first, I want to thank you for having me on. I've been seeing that you've been interviewing a few people, and I've been thinking about the fact that I need to give back, and the information systems IT is such a blossoming, booming industry, which has low unemployment. They can't find workers. And I really think it's something that, I feel like almost like an evangelist for that everybody or everyone one that has kids should be interested in it. So for me, what first caught my interest in this was, I graduated from school in New York. I went to a technical high school, but I did not do a technical program there. I was at University of Albany for a year. I was studying history. And, I decided that while I was there, it was not a place that I really felt comfortable with. And so then I had friends that were at Oakwood. They enjoyed themselves. They said that it was a great place, academically, spiritually. And then, I just decided I was going to go and transfer there. So when I transferred there, I picked a religion minor, and I also picked my major in history. And, it was going great. And I basically moved into Edwards Hall because I was a transfer student. And I walked into the dorm suite where I was going to be. And there was a good friend of mine, still to this day, Brian. He was working on his computer, and it was like
Mm,
a tall tower. And basically, he was installing applications, he was downloading programs from the internet, and he was basically just working on his craft. He was a computer science major, but I found out from him that he was doing a lot of other things outside of his studies, writing programs to better himself. So basically, he was learning in his room, and I became pretty interested about that. I just wondered. I was just like, this seems kind of cool. Here he is. He's built a computer. He's installed applications. He's making it work. And I began to ask him a couple of questions about it. I also, when I had a computer issue, I asked him about it. He would help me like install driver software for the computer to work. And so we had a back and forth talk until one day he was just like, you could do this on your own, and he told me, listen, you could do it, go ahead, install it. And, I basically, I made the effort. I thought about it. I tried and I was able to do it. And I really liked the fact that I was able to do so. And so from then, I built my own computer. And a friend of mine, Kasal, that also shared this link, we basically were able to get a job at school as student workers working in the computer lab. Not so much the computer lab, we were actually working with the engineers that were going around fixing computers on campus. And
Got it.
so, looking back at that, that gave me basically, it was like an internship inside of school that I was able to, build computers, troubleshoot issues that professors may have, also student workers. We're basically able to just do that kind of troubleshooting that is very much needed in the industry, and it was something that I considered a gift. I thank God for that because you know to get in the industry, you really have to get that experience. So
Experience.
that really got my wheels turning, and I really liked it. So I thought about, should I switch my major to computer science, but I didn't want to because I was sort of afraid of programming. Looking back, I probably should have because writing applications, coding is such an important thing today. You're instantly, if you have that skill, you're in demand either way you go. So if as it's something that is really necessary. And as you can see with all the different programs that they have now, teaching people how to code, it's something that is greatly needed. So
Wow.
that was something that I did.
You know what? You know what? Sharing your story is great in that you went to a college that felt fostered your growth, your like you felt like when you were in a school that was much larger, you just didn't feel
Right.
like you feel like I remember you saying like a fish out of water
Fish
earlier.
out of water. Yep.
But when you went to Oakwood, which is a historically black college university, which I love to really push,
Hmm.
especially for black men. Um, black men retention rates in the university and college system are, especially in the public and private university systems, are not that great. But when you talk about black men and historically black colleges and university, their retention rates and their graduation rates like are supersede those. I mean, you could go on to United Negro College Fund to get the information about that. And so I encourage I encourage parents to really consider historically black colleges and universities, because it's not enough to get an education. It's about finishing and fostering an environment of safety for your child. So what I hear from that is that you had you had opportunities. You got
I did.
opportunities when you
I
when
had
you left where you
opportunities.
were.
Absolutely. I mean, at Oakwood again, as a history major, my professor, Dr. Cyril Sepulveda, it was almost, it was a professor, but it was also, like you said, nurturing. Definitely, I could walk into his office. I could have a talk with him. I could have a discussion. He would point me in the right direction. There were people that really cared about you as an individual there, and so the word nurture is exactly how I feel when I think about Oakwood.
Yeah, absolutely.
So,
And so not only did you get
mhm,
nurturing there, you got internship networking opportunities.
yes, absolutely, absolutely. I got all that. I was able to work there. I worked there for 2 years because I switched to campus safety simply because it gave me more hours and I was able to make more money. But that experience was something that was really good because once you have an experience, no one can take that away from you. That is something that you could definitely put down. That's something that you did. So from my going to Oakwood, I then graduated. I started working I started instantly. I was fortunate again, God blessed me, and I was able to teach at Linden SDA School. And so I taught there for 8 years. One of the things that attracted that the principal liked about me was that I had computer skills. So they need a computer teacher, and I was able to say, "Hey, I can teach computers. This is what I've done. This is my experience." Even though I had not had a degree in English in computers, I was able to basically say, "Hey, this is what it is." Even in the interview, they asked me questions about the computer, and I was able to basically explain what I would do in that position. So I began teaching history. I eventually was teaching Bible, but I was also teaching computer classes and also assisting the school in computer decisions that they had. For example, they had a lab that they had to upgrade. I was a part of that discussion, recommendations of what should happen. I was, troubleshooting the wireless system, the printers, the computers. I was known as the individual that if there's a problem with the computer, you can come and talk with me. So while I was doing that, I decided, teaching is good. It's good. I love teaching, but I was like, I wanted to do something more. And so that's where I pursued my master's in information systems management from DeVry. So, that's where I began to work at it to basically get a degree in IT. So that's where I worked, and I got that. I think you're muted. I don't hear you, Maya. Uh, Go ahead. Get again. Can you hear me? I don't hear you. Um, oh,
Testing, testing.
yeah, I can hear you. I can hear you.
Yeah, something went wrong with my system back there.
Okay.
Technology, technology.
It happens. It happens. Believe me, it happens.
Yeah,
Yep.
yeah. Yeah, I
Yep.
wasn't muted. I wasn't muted. My system just shut down. My system just shut down on me.
It
I was saying
happens.
I was talking and I think you didn't hear me. I said, "Can you hear me?" And then I said, "Okay, let me wait." I was like, "Call Mr. Stone. Call Mr.
Oh,
Stone."
no, I didn't hear you. I hear you now. Yep.
But it's all good. Yeah, your journey, Sharon was. I mean, who's this talking? Is it? I know that is this Alicia's brother? I can't really tell. But
No,
Casual
well,
Henry.
Casal, yeah. So that's my friend that we
Wow. Okay.
basically were together in working in the computer lab. So we basically
Oh.
were suite mates, and it's
Okay.
just something that we were doing. Yep.
Yeah. So he was just talking about your journey, and what I was saying is that you have you said, "Oh, maybe I should have majored in computer science when I was at
Hmm.
Oakwood," but your journey is your journey, you ultimately
Right.
did. You fostered experience, and now what I'm learning from many people in tech, it's really about the skill set. So
Yes.
you fostered your
Exactly.
experience. Yeah, fostered your experience in college, you fostered your experience personal, whatever reason, as a teacher, and then, like you said, you went on and got your master's degree. So you can jump in, guys. Those of you who are thinking
Yes, you
about tech,
can.
you can jump into tech at any position. That's the beauty
Yes, you
of it,
can.
and then just explode financially. You just gotta like it though.
Yes. Yes, yes, you do. Yes, you do have to like it. Yeah, because interestingly enough, after I got my master's, and that touches on what you're talking about, with experience. Even though I got my master's, I thought because I had a cousin that he did his degree. I think he's a physicist now. So he did his master's and he was able to get a job quickly. While I got my degree, it took me some time. I think it took maybe a year for me to get in a full-time locked in IT position. And the reason for that was they kept saying, even though you have a degree, you don't have that experience. So you're sort of top heavy, but you don't have the experience that builds up to this degree. So for any individual that is looking to get into tech, I would definitely say that you should pursue IT certifications and then definitely
Certification.
get into your master's degree, because those IT certifications are critical in showing employers that you have the skills that they need. It's
Skill set.
basically the only way, besides you working a job, which of course is hard for you to get because you don't have the skills. That is the way that you could say, hey, I have these skills. And it gives employers more to say, let me take a chance on you.
Got it, got it. So what tools did you develop or use actually to discipline yourself to succeed, whether it be at Oakwood or at the Keller Graduate School?
Well, I think it's definitely applying yourself. It's about prioritizing what you have to do. For me, it was basically, constantly looking over that syllabus to make sure I understood what was required of me. I realized that if you follow the syllabus, then you basically have the professors that I had basically, they gave you the hints of what you needed to be successful. So I can't stress enough that you really read that syllabus. Also, I had challenges with my master's because my daughter was born during the time that I was pursuing it, and so I had slipped up with my studies. But you have to basically make a decision to keep pushing on. That perseverance is something that you just have to keep going on. You cannot let go of it. You cannot just basically drop back, or you have to decide that you're going to finish this. So I would definitely say perseverance is something that you need to have, and definitely looking over those syllabus and basically the time management that you have to use to sort of figure out how long it's going to take for you to get this accomplish this goal.
Yeah, organization, time management. What you said was
Yep.
key, perseverance, pushing
Yes.
through. And that's what you get in graduate school. Graduate school is about completion. I think
Yes.
higher
It is.
education period. Higher ed I did a presentation this past week at a university about retention rates, especially from underrepresented students in STEM. And and the highest dropout rates in higher education, college especially, happen in the first year of college.
Yeah.
If you can make it past the second year of college, juniors don't drop out of school. Seniors
No.
don't drop out of school. The people who drop out of school the most are freshmen.
Yep. Because
Freshmen.
it's so that adjustment is so difficult for them, and that's where you definitely need that support for them for you to lift them up and push them through. Yeah,
That that
definitely.
that that nurturing. That's why you left
Yes.
university, right? You left and went to
Right.
Oakwood. That first year, you just didn't feel that
Right.
nurturing.
Right.
Yeah, yeah. But what you have to persevere, guys. It's so key what Sherwin is saying. You have to push through because there might be a circumstance in life like having a baby, right? That
Mm-hmm.
that kind of shifts things, but what did he do? He still finished. He completed.
Yep.
He completed. All right, so you gave me a little bit of challenge. What were your challenges in school? What was
So,
being
of course, I'm married. I am taking these graduate courses, and it's difficult because you're trying to adjust. You're trying to, of course, you're I'm teaching, so I'm marking papers. I have lesson plans to do, but at the same time, I have the content that I have to do. Sometimes you're not in a frame of mind to actually learn the content, like same thing, like you're reading the same chapter 5 6 times and you're not retaining the information, because there's just so many things that you're thinking about that you can't focus. So that was something that I had to deal with, and what I was able to do was that I sort of, like, yeah, I previewed the syllabus, previewed everything that was in the class, and you sort of get a map in your mind of what is going to come for this class. What you're able to do. You know, I had a lot of discussion classes, so it's really sort of adapting. Like, okay, this is basically the format of the class, and I find because I did the majority of my class online,
Online.
which
Yeah,
I
most
think
most information system degrees, tech degrees are online like this. Yeah.
And I think it's harder than you going into a classroom, because when you're in a classroom, you can ask a teacher questions and you can sort of maybe shorten what that teacher is going to cover, that professor is going to cover based on the dialogue in class. But in online, they give you everything and you're just basically, you have to learn everything. So it is more difficult because there's more content for you to learn. But you have to also use all of the resources that they have there for you, and definitely talk with a professor early, and work on saying that you need help, or there were discussion questions, which I found to be sort of an easy way to keep your grade higher, because it's just basically researching, figuring out what the professor's asking, adding your little piece, and just responding, and you learn to do those things, just to get along.
What you're saying is so key, and I think this is one of the major errors that happen in college is that students do not utilize their resources. And I think what you've
Yep.
been pushing a lot is read the syllabus. You said that I think about 3 times in this
Yep.
interview. Read the syllabus. That is so key. And utilize the resources provided by the professor. One of the biggest mistakes that my students make is they don't I put all kinds of resources. I use Canvas.
Hmm.
So even though I am a face-to-face professor, I utilize online um,
Okay.
platforms. I utilize online platforms and I put tons of resources. And many students just ignore the resources because they don't manage their time properly, right? But
Right.
like you
Right.
said, manage your time properly and spend a certain amount of time. If you're going to spend 2 hours a day or hour and a half a day on a class, break that hour and a half into 30-minute sections in which you do different things with the resources provided. It's so key what you're saying.
Yep.
Yeah, but if the student don't even know, like I have students like say, "I don't know, what are we covering today?" I'm like, "Did you look at your syllabus? In your
Right.
syllabus, I have a calendar, and it tells you exactly what we're doing." Big. What you're saying is so critical. Okay, so it's just because there was so much stuff going on in your life. That's
Right.
the challenge. You had to like manage your time in a way by just utilizing resources. That's what I'm
Right.
hearing.
Yeah,
Yeah, yeah,
so I had to be willing to have the sleepless nights. That you, after everyone's gone to bed, you stay up and you try to figure out what's going on with the particular classes. How to, I had to also, you got to challenge yourself to become well, by that time I was writing well, but you can always write better. As your classes challenge you. So grad school is really relying heavily on your undergrad skills that you were able to utilize and sharpen them. So it's definitely it's a building block, and so it's more difficult if you don't have those skills.
yeah. So get those skills, guys. Get those skills from high school, which is writing, utilizing resources. All right. So tell me what you do specifically. Um,
So.
and after you tell me what you specifically do,
Mhm.
tell me what your challenges are.
So what I do right now is that I and a colleague of mine, we manage. So basically the company that I'm working with, they have federal contracts, right? They have federal contracts um, with different parts of the government. And those individuals, they are also supported by an internal IT system. So the internal IT system is made up of network devices and servers, basically, and different systems are running on it. What I do is that I am in charge of the systems. These are servers that are running Windows Server, Microsoft Exchange. And basically, so what I'm doing is I may be building servers. I may also be troubleshooting if someone calls and has a particular problem with a system. I will be working with them to troubleshoot the issue. I will also just make sure that the system is secure. With cybersecurity being such a huge, important topic that's happening right now, we make sure that these servers are patched, and we, document whether there is any kind of suspicious activity. So this basically protects our system and also protects those individuals that work on those federal contracts. So
So actually,
mhm.
tell me what a explain to me what a server actually is. There's some people
Good.
on here
Glad
don't
you
even know what
asked.
yeah.
So
I don't even
basically, a server is a large computer, right? It's a large computer, like a big box. And what used to happen is that in this big box, there was just one piece of software called the operating system. And that's basically Windows, right? And everybody's familiar with Windows. When it comes to servers, there is the difference between like what your computer is and what a server is, that whenever you're browsing the web or looking at things coming on your screen, that's coming from a server. So a server is basically given that information that you're asking for. So anytime you open up an application on your phone and things come on it, that's coming from a server. And so your servers basically run all different type of applications, right? And so there are your physical box, basically, that you would say, okay, that's a server, but you basically are able to have multiple operating systems within it, which is called virtualization. So that is also a big topic. Basically, it's like you taking five computers and putting it into one box. That's what it is. Yep.
got
Yep.
it. And then so you're saying if I wanna come on to Facebook, I say facebook.com, the server will send Facebook
Is
to me. But if
exactly.
but
Yep.
if a hacker comes in or something, Facebook is trying to send me Facebook to my computer, but it can't get there, and you just see things spinning or something like
So that's a possibility also, and that's why they really work hard to keep these systems secure.
right.
Basically, what you're talking about is similar to what we call a man in the middle attack, which means that the server is able to take that traffic that Facebook is sending back to you and direct it to somewhere different. So you'll be communicating with that hacker instead of basically communicating with Facebook. So from your servers, you have your data centers. So I'm not working at a data center right now. I was the job that I had before this. They had a data center where, a data center is just basically a large amount of servers, a large amount of network equipment we call switches and routers that are in a room, and they're basically relaying information to individuals. So it could be your websites, it could be apps on your phone, it could be apps on your computer. But all the major services that we use on the internet, be it Amazon, when we're shopping at Amazon, when we are looking up a website, we're checking our email. All of this information is coming from these large data centers all over the United States that is pushing information, which they have called now the cloud. So I know you had
Yeah, I had somebody on there like 2
right.
weeks ago.
Yep.
Mhm.
Yep.
Yeah,
So definitely no, go ahead.
yeah, yes, yeah, so you manage servers. You
Yes.
make sure that they are working properly for 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 a company that contracts. So you just relocated to the DMV, and I my friends on here, we watch we watched Ready to Love on Own, and like all the guys, most of the guys on there were cybersecurity, IT. Like there's a lot of IT professionals that work for government and contractors because they have
It
so
is
much information.
huge. Down here, absolutely. There's a lot of people that are employed down here, and that's what they're doing because what the government does is that the government it has it their jobs that you can apply for IT, right? But many of those jobs are management jobs. So what they do is that they hand out federal contracts to companies to manage their infrastructure. And so those contracts they go from from basically like your clearance, like that's when you can get your clearance, your public trust, and go all the way up to top secret because they have companies that are managing this. And so of course with with they're talking about cybersecurity, it is a huge place source of employment for this area and for people. And these salaries, the majority of them are six-figure salaries, okay? Because they
Listen,
are in high demand.
love it, love it. So, what are your challenges?
So
What's
my
hard about it?
challenges, yeah, so my challenges are basically, IT is a rapid field. You always got to be learning something. There's always a new technology coming out, and it could come from it's just something that you just basically heard about to becoming mainstream. Right now, what is mainstream is the cloud, and so you have to put yourself in a willingness to learn, right? Because as much as getting in, you're going to have to learn a whole lot more. And so it's a rapid, like they say, drinking water from a fire hose. It's something that I've had conversations with friends of mine. They're like, "Man, I'm tired. I always got to learn something." It's like when does it slow down? So that is definitely a challenge of it. Learning new technology. You know, and also another challenge is mastering what you already know. That yes, you know how to maintain systems, but how well do you know it? How deep do you know it? Because it's one thing to be functional, but it's another thing to be an expert in that particular part of IT. So it's humbling because, as much as you think when you begin to work in the industry and stuff, you find out that there's a whole lot that you don't know. So, you definitely want to stay focused on that. So those are my two main challenges, balancing learning new technology and continually moving forward. Because, if you don't learn, then basically you can be left behind.
Yeah, so you have to be willing to constantly learn. And I was saying to my cloud professional a couple of months ago, like,
Right.
cellular respiration is still cellular respiration. Like, I'm still teaching the same thing that was 20 years old.
Right.
And, but even in science, technology is crucial to the advancements of science. So while the
Right.
foundational information is the same, DNA technology is huge right now because the Innocence Project, for instance, we're talking about
Yes.
motivation of black men. Black men have been
Mhm.
in prison for years. They've been in
Right.
prison 30, 40 years for crimes that they did not commit. And we knew about DNA. Watson and Crick taught us about DNA in the 40s. But it's because of technological
Right.
advancement, that now we use that information, that core information about DNA, to now free innocent black men. And so imagine technology being so impactful for not just careers and finances, but our community. But the thing is, it changes, it modifies, it quick, and you have to be willing to quickly learn. But by being willing to quickly learn, you can impact your family and the community at large, right? Yeah, I'm sorry.
Yeah, absolutely. I mean, it's always a back and forth, is technology good or is it evil? And we can see definitely the parts where it's evil, but there is definitely a lot of good that is coming from technology, being able and the base of technology is really that communication. And communicating with people and learning or became based on, like you said, with the Innocence Project, that you're able to now basically determine whether a person is innocent or guilty. And so it has technology really has the potential to do a whole lot for us. Besides just having us just be attached to our phones.
Right, 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 right. All right, so last question. This has been an awesome interview, guys. If you have any questions that you want to say or any comments that you want to put up there, please feel free to do that. Um, what's your favorite part of your career? What's like what do you love the most?
So the favorite part of my career is you moving from theory to actually practicing. That's what I think really hooked me, was the practical part of reading about a computer, but then you're actually putting it together. Um, you know, understanding how servers work, but then actually making that server work. So for me, that's the favorite part. Another great part is basically learning. I'm constantly learning about new technology, new things that are going on. So that keeps the role exciting. It keeps me fresh to understand things, and so that's why I definitely enjoy what I do.
Wow, wow, yeah. So it's not, and you were saying that earlier. You were saying, I had the education, but it took me a while to get a full-time job because I didn't have the experience. Because it's not all about knowledge. It's literally having the practical skill set. And you actually like that. You like putting
Right,
things into practice, not just learning stuff. And the
right.
thing I love about this career is like you don't have to necessarily go all the way to the master's level. You can, like you said, get IT certifications and start doing practice right now, you know?
Right. I definitely, for anyone that would view this video, I would say that IT is definitely a promising career field for you, for anyone that is interested to get into cybersecurity in terms of protecting our systems. We don't think about it every day, but every system that you can think of relies upon a computer. Our light, our electricity does, our water does, our gas does, and these are all things that need to be protected. And in order for you to protect them, you have to learn systems. You have to learn what systems do, how they are. So it's definitely like a building block to get there. So that's why when people say, oh, cybersecurity pays well, it does pay well, but you have to be willing to put in the work like any other well worth career. So for anyone that's interested in IT, I would definitely have you just take a look at IT certifications, pursue it, and don't give up. You have to be tenacious in this field to get your foot in the door. You have to fill out a lot of resumes and a lot of job applications. I filled out tons of them before I was able to get accepted. And as usual, your basic roles, there are tons of people at the bottom. But when you become like a engineer, system engineer, network engineer, those roles are easy for a person that's qualified to get because there are not enough people in America to fill those roles. So the
Mhm.
challenge is you have to move from the bottom to the top in terms of getting your IT certifications, keep moving, keep pushing, and that's when you really become an individual that you are in high demand.
Wow. And it sounds like you have to be able to master handling rejection.
Yes, you do. I mean, we talk about it all the time. You're filling out tons of applications, and you're not hearing from anybody. But you can't be discouraged. You just got to keep filling them out, keep filling them out. And you keep going. Of course, you pray about it. You ask God to definitely assist and help you to direct you to the right place that you need to go. So it's definitely one that you have to be. The most successful IT engineers that I know are persistent and tenacious, even in making sure that they accomplish their goals.
Wow. Wow. Wow, 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 wow. Sherwin, this has been an awesome interview. I really, really appreciate you for coming on Phenomenal
Thank
STEMist with
you.
me. Um, I hope really this, gets settled into somebody's heart. Especially my passion is young men, young black men, who may not know how to get there and may feel rejected. And I'm hearing from you. You got to be tenacious. You got to
Yep.
complete what you start, and you got to be tenacious, even in the midst of rejection. Awesome interview. I am the phenomenal STEMist.
Yes, you are.
And
Thank you for
so
having me.
no, so are you. So is he. So is he. Good night, everybody.
All right. Take care.